I am Atlas, a 29-year-old software developer, and for the past 5 years, I have been the only man living in a house full of women. My mother, my sister, and 3 female cousins. I always thought having a big family under one roof was a blessing, lots of laughter, lots of memories, the kind of warmth you see in movies. But there was this phrase I kept hearing over and over again that slowly started to feel less like a joke and more like a wall being built around me. Girls only. At first I thought it was harmless, just the ladies having their fun together, but gradually it became the invisible barrier that separated me from my own family. And the worst part, I was paying for everything in a house where I was not even allowed to participate. Before we dive into what happened next, I would love to know where you are watching this from. Drop your location in the comments below. And if you are enjoying this story so far, please hit that like button and subscribe to the channel because what I am about to share will show you exactly what happens when kindness gets mistaken for weakness and when a man finally decides to take back control of his own life. Trust me, you will want to hear how this unfolds. Let me paint the full picture for you. I am Atlas, and I have been living in the family home since my dad passed away 5 years ago. It was a 4-bedroom house in the suburbs, the kind of place my father worked his entire life to own. When he died, he left the house to me in his will. Not to my mom, not to my sister, but to me. I think he knew I would take care of everyone, and I did. I really did. After Dad was gone, my mom, Linda, who was 52 at the time, made the decision to open our doors to my 3 female cousins. They were the daughters of my mom's sister, and my aunt was going through serious financial trouble. So Jenna, who was 24 and studying fashion design, Sophie, who was 22 and working part-time at a coffee shop, and Lily, who was 20 years old and still in college, all moved in. My sister Emma, who was 26 and worked in marketing but never had a stable income, was already living here. So suddenly, our house went from 3 people to 6. I did not mind at first. Family is family, right? I had a good job as a software developer, pulling in about $5,000 a month, and I figured we could make it work. The house was big enough. Everyone had their own space. It should have been fine. But then the girls-only thing started. I remember the first time I heard it clearly. I came home from work one evening, tired but in a good mood, ready to relax. I walked into the living room and saw all 5 of them gathered on the couch, blankets everywhere, popcorn bowls scattered around, watching some romantic comedy on the big screen. I smiled, headed toward the couch to join them, and that is when Emma looked up at me and said, "Oh, Atlas, this is girls-only movie night. You would not enjoy it anyway." I laughed it off. What else was I supposed to do? I grabbed a beer from the fridge and went to my room, figuring they just wanted some bonding time. No big deal. The following week, I came home to the smell of fresh pizza dough and the sound of laughter coming from the kitchen. I walked in curious and saw them all covered in flour, tossing dough in the air, music blaring from the speaker. Jenna looked over at me and grinned. "Girls only cooking session, big bro. We will save you some pizza though." Again, I was shut out. But I told myself it was fine. They were having fun together. That is what mattered. Except it kept happening. Girls-only brunch on Sundays. Girls-only shopping trips every Saturday. Girls-only spa day at home, complete with face masks and nail polish scattered across the bathroom counter. Every single time I tried to join in or suggest doing something together as a family, I was met with the same response. "Sorry, Atlas, this is girls only." Or, "We already made plans, maybe next time." I started to feel like a ghost in my own home. I would come back from work and hear them laughing in the living room, but the moment I walked in, the energy would shift. Not in a bad way, just in a way that made it clear I was not part of whatever they had going on. So I stopped trying. I spent more time in my room working on side projects, watching sports alone, ordering takeout instead of eating with them. Then one night I sat down to go through the monthly bills, something I did every month without fail. I opened my laptop, pulled up the bank statements, and started adding everything up. The electric bill had skyrocketed. We were talking about twice what it used to be. 5 women running air conditioning in every room, blow-drying their hair for hours, leaving lights on all over the house. The water bill had doubled too. Long showers, constant laundry loads, running the dishwasher 3 times a day. The internet bill was maxed out because someone was always streaming movies, music, or video calls. And groceries. That was the real kicker. I was spending about $600 a month on food alone because they were constantly cooking, baking, trying out new recipes they found online. I did the math. I was paying about $3,200 a month to keep that house running. Mortgage, utilities, groceries, maintenance, everything. My paycheck was $5,000 a month. After the house expenses, I had about $1,800 left for my car insurance, gas, and trying to save a little for the future. I was barely getting by, and I was doing it alone. At first, after Dad died, my mom had contributed a little. But over time, she stopped. She would say things like, "You are the man of the house now, Atlas. This is your responsibility." Emma had promised she would help out once her job stabilized, but every month it was the same excuse. "Next month, I promise." The three cousins never even brought it up. They treated living here like a free vacation, like I was running a charity hostel. I sat there staring at the numbers on my screen, feeling this weight pressing down on my chest. I was paying for everything, and I was not even allowed to be part of the family. My 30th birthday was coming up, and I would be lying if I said I was not hoping for something special. 30 felt like a big deal, a milestone. I thought maybe, just maybe, they would plan something for me. A dinner, a cake, anything to show that I mattered. About a week before my birthday, I started noticing them whispering in the kitchen, giggling, planning something. I caught bits of conversation. "We need balloons." "What about decorations? Should we order a cake or make one?" My heart lifted. I thought, okay, they are planning a surprise for me. They do care. The morning of my birthday, I woke up with this quiet excitement. I went downstairs, and my mom was in the kitchen rushing around. She looked up at me, said, "Happy birthday, sweetie," in this distracted voice, then went right back to whatever she was doing. That was it. No one else even mentioned it. I went to work feeling a little deflated, but I told myself maybe they were saving the surprise for the evening. When I got home that night, I heard music blasting from inside the house. I opened the door and my jaw dropped. The living room was completely transformed. Balloons everywhere, streamers hanging from the ceiling, LED lights flashing, a huge banner stretched across the wall. For a second, my heart soared. They did do something. But then I read the banner. "Happy birthday, Sophie." 23 and fabulous. I felt like someone had punched me in the stomach. Today was Sophie's birthday too. I had forgotten. Because honestly, no one ever made a big deal about my birthday. So why would I remember anyone else's? But here they were throwing this massive girls' only birthday bash for my cousin on my 30th birthday in my house. My mom saw me standing there and walked over. "Oh, honey, you understand, right? Sophie is still young. Birthdays mean more to girls at her age. You are a grown man now." Emma chimed in from across the room. "Plus, this is girls' only party, Atlas. We have like 15 girlfriends coming over. You would just feel awkward. No apology, no acknowledgement. Just an expectation that I would quietly accept being invisible on my own birthday in my own house." I did not say anything. I just turned around, walked upstairs, and locked myself in my room. I could hear the music and laughter all night long vibrating through the walls, a constant reminder that I did not matter. 2 days later, I came home early. My company had given me the afternoon off, so I got back around 2 in the afternoon. As I walked toward the front door, I heard voices coming from the living room. I was about to walk in and say hello when I heard my name. I stopped. I should not have, but I did. I stood there behind the wall, listening. Jenna was talking. "Honestly, having Atlas around is so convenient. Free housing, all bills paid, and we do not even have to pretend to include him." Sophie laughed. "I know, right? My friends are so jealous. They are all struggling with rent, and I am just living my best life here." Lily's voice came next. "Do you think he will ever ask us to pay?" Then Emma, my own sister, said, "Nah, Atlas is too nice. Plus, Mom always makes him feel guilty about taking care of family. He will not say anything." And then my mom, my own mother. "My son is a good boy. He knows his responsibility. Besides, what would people say if he kicked out his own mother and sister Jenna again? Good thing he is not interested in dating seriously. Can you imagine bringing a girlfriend here? We would have to actually share the house." They all laughed. Loud, carefree laughter. Sophie finished it off. "Girls' only house is the best. We should keep it this way forever." I stood there frozen. My blood felt like ice in my veins. They were not just excluding me. They were using me. This whole girls only thing was not about bonding. It was a strategy. Keep Atlas at a distance, keep him as the ATM, the guy who pays for everything and asks for nothing in return. I did not go inside. I turned around, walked back to my car, and just sat there for an hour, staring at nothing. That night I did not go down for dinner. I stayed in my room, opened my laptop, and pulled up a spreadsheet. I needed to see the full picture. I went back 5 years and calculated every single dollar I had spent on that house. Mortgage payments, $2,000 a month for 60 months. That is $120,000. Utilities around $700 a month for 60 months. $42,000. Groceries $600 a month for 60 months. $36,000. Maintenance and repairs over 5 years. About $5,000 a year. $25,000. The total came out to over $220,000. $220,000 I had poured into that house. And what had I gotten in return? Loneliness. Exclusion. Being treated like a stranger in my own home. I looked out my window at the streetlights flickering outside and I made a decision. I was not angry. I did not want revenge. I just wanted my life back. If they were going to treat me like a stranger, then I would stop pretending to be their caretaker. Starting tomorrow, everything was going to change. The next morning, I woke up early. I had 3 things to do. First, I called a family attorney. I needed to make sure I understood my legal rights when it came to the house. The lawyer confirmed what I already knew. The house was mine, left to me in my father's will. My mother and sister had the right to live there, but they had no ownership. If I wanted to, I could ask them to contribute financially or ask them to leave. It was entirely my decision. Second, I opened a new bank account and rerouted my paycheck to it. The old account would stay open, but only for house expenses that I chose to pay. Third, I wrote a letter, a formal, clear letter outlining everything. That evening, I asked everyone to come to the living room. My mom looked confused. "What is going on, honey?" I handed each of them a printed copy of the letter, and then I read it out loud, to my family. I have been the sole financial provider for this house for 5 years. I have paid the mortgage, utilities, groceries, and all maintenance costs without asking for contribution. I have been excluded from family activities under the label girls only, and I have accepted it quietly. However, I recently realized that I am being taken advantage of, not treated as a family member but as a free housing provider. Effective immediately, I will only pay for my portion of all bills. This house has 6 people. Each person will be responsible for 1/6 of all costs. Your share will be approximately $530 per month. If you choose not to pay, you are welcome to find alternative housing within 60 days. This is not negotiable. This is my decision as the homeowner. The room went silent. You could hear a pin drop. Emma was the first to speak. "Atlas, you cannot be serious. We are family." I looked at her calmly. "Family works both ways, Emma. Family does not exclude each other. Family does not use each other." My mom stood up, her voice shaking. "Atlas, your father would be ashamed of you. This is not how we raised you." I stayed calm. Dad left this house to me, not to anyone else. He trusted me to make the right decisions. And this is my decision. Jenna practically screamed. $530 I cannot afford, that I am still in school. I replied, "You can afford daily Starbucks new clothes every week and weekend brunches with friends. You will figure it out." Sophie started crying. "I thought you cared about us. I thought you were kind." "I do care," I said. "That is why I'm giving you 60 days notice instead of 30. That is more than most landlords would do." Lily muttered, "This is so unfair." I looked at her. What is unfair is living rent-free for years while treating the homeowner like a ghost. Emma tried a different approach. "Atlas, please. Can we talk about this? Maybe we can work out a compromise." I shook my head. "The compromise is you paying your fair share. That is already generous. In the real world, you would be paying at least $800 to $1,000 for a room in a shared house." Then my mom played her final card. "Fine. Then we will all move out. All of us. And you will be alone in this big house. Is that what you want?" For the first time, I smiled. If that is your choice, I respect it. But the offer stands. Pay your share or leave. Your decision. I stood up and walked to my room, leaving them sitting there in shock. The first few days were tense. They ignored me completely, hoping I would back down. I did not. I cooked my own meals, did my own laundry, lived my life. On the third day, they tried to throw a loud girls-only dinner blasting music, laughing extra loud, trying to make me feel left out. I ordered pizza, sat in my room, watched football, and felt completely at peace. The first week, my mom tried crying, talking about my dad, about family values. I listened then, said, "Mom, emotional manipulation will not work. The decision stands." The second week, Emma tried to negotiate. "What if you pay 70% and I pay 30%? I said 50-50 for 6 people. Math does not change based on negotiations. The third week, Jenna, Sophie, and Lily started looking at apartments. They realized they could not live for free forever. The fourth week, the new utility bills came. I paid only my portion. 3 days later, the electricity got shut off because the bill was not fully paid. That is when they finally understood. I was serious. 6 weeks after I made my announcement, Jenna, Sophie, and Lily found a 2-bedroom apartment across town. They would split it 3 ways, each paying $650 a month. The day before they moved out, Jenna came to my room and knocked on the door. I opened it and she stood there looking uncomfortable. "You know what, Atlas, this is actually good for us. We have been too comfortable, too entitled." Sophie was standing behind her. "I am sorry, Atlas. We treated you like you were invisible. That was not right." Lily nodded. "Thank you for the wake-up call. Even if it hurt." I hugged each of them. "I do not hate you guys. I just needed you to see me as a person, not a piggy bank." They left the next day. No drama, no bitterness, just a quiet understanding that things had needed to change. Emma decided to stay, but she committed to paying her full share. She picked up freelance work, cut back on unnecessary spending, and made it happen. The first month was hard for her, but she did it. And something shifted between us. We stopped being distant siblings and became roommates who actually respected each other. One night, she knocked on my door and said, "I took you for granted, Atlas. I am sorry. You deserved better from your own sister." I smiled. We are learning together. That is what matters. My mom was the hardest. At first, she was furious. She said I had betrayed the family, that I was selfish, that she would never forgive me. She threatened to cut me off emotionally, to tell everyone in the extended family what a terrible son I was. But I did not bend. I did not argue. I just lived my life. 2 months later, something changed. She saw that I was happier. I had money to spend on myself. I joined a gym. I started going out with friends again. I even started dating a woman named Sarah, someone I met through a dating app. For the first time in 5 years, I felt like I was actually living, not just existing. My mom had to get a part-time job to afford her share of the bills. She had to budget, manage her own money, stand on her own 2 feet. And slowly I saw something shift in her eyes. She stopped seeing me as the son who owed her everything and started seeing me as a man who had his own life. One evening she knocked on my door. I opened it and she was standing there with tears in her eyes. "I am proud of you, son," she said quietly. "You stood up for yourself. Your father would be proud too." I hugged her, and for the first time in years it felt real. "I love you, Mom. But I also need to love myself." After 3 months, the house had only 3 people left. Me, Emma, and my mom. We split chores fairly. We cooked together. There was no more girls only or boys only, just family, real family. I had time and money for myself now. I traveled on weekends. I went to concerts. I bought things I actually wanted instead of just paying bills. I felt free. Sarah and I had been dating for 2 months, and she came over for dinner one night. Emma and my mom were welcoming, kind, respectful. After dinner, Sarah pulled me aside and said, "Your family is really nice. I like them." I smiled. It took a while to get here, but yeah, they are. I was not angry anymore. I did not hold grudges. I had simply set a boundary, and that boundary had saved my life. One evening, I sat on the front porch watching the autumn leaves fall from the trees. The air was crisp, the sky was clear, and I felt this deep sense of peace I had not felt in years. I thought about everything that had happened, everything I had learned. Kindness is not the same as being a doormat. Loving your family does not mean sacrificing yourself until there is nothing left. Sometimes the best thing you can do for people is teach them to stand on their own. And sometimes real love requires boundaries. I did not regret my decision. Not for a second. I looked up at the stars and whispered, "Thanks, Dad. I hope I made you proud." And I knew somehow that I had. People often mistake kindness for weakness and silence for acceptance. But the strongest thing you can do is to love yourself enough to say no. Because at the end of the day, you cannot pour from an empty cup, and a house is only a home when you are treated like you belong there, not just as someone who pays the bills. I learned that the hard way. But I learned it, and that made all the difference. So here is my question for you. Have you ever been in a situation where you felt taken for granted by the people closest to you? What did you do about it? Drop your answer in the comments below. I would love to hear your story. And if this story resonated with you, please hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and share this video with someone who might need to hear it. Your support means the world. Thank you so much for listening, and I hope you find the courage to set the boundaries you need in your own life. Take care of yourself. You deserve it.